Hey guys, Scott here, Pine Barren Craftsman. Let me give you the rundown. Part two here is power steering lines and power steering pump removal. This is a Chevy. I believe by the casting on these heads, the way that this stamp looks, you can analyze this online and you can find out what you got. This is, I think, Vortec heads with these through bolts. I think that it's pretty much a crate engine because it's black all the way around. Typically, I think these engines came, the 350, with either orange or blue, like a light blue. Um, so anyway, I pulled the power steering pump out. Let me take you over there and show you what's going on. The way I do my projects, I'm trying to have fun. Like this was a different story. Um, I try to do this truck soup to nuts the right way, 100%. And I, just kind of lacking on the paint right now. That's all it needs. But this is a more typical Scott, the Pine Barren Craftsman deal, where, you try to take this thing off. I don't want to pull the pulley off of the pump if it works. I want to paint the bracket in place just to make it look nice. Nobody's going to get back in here and say, I see a little bit of blue down deep. And if you really get crazy, you can get in there. Maybe sometimes you can get black paint, which is going to be painted black. You can get it with a brush, and you can paint it with a Rust-Oleum black paint with a chip brush, a little cheap disposable brush, oil base. And you can get in there, hit this with some brake clean, whatever, parts cleaner, degreaser, and you can get in there and fix this up. But look what we're looking at here, man. This thing has been boned and clinked and crinked and crunkled, and every side of it, every bump. Like, I don't know if it went through the swap meet. Maybe it went through the scrap yard. But every end of this thing has just been hammered and clunked and clunked. I don't know what's happening. So I'm kind of wondering, what's the deal here? I mean, one of the things you do to analyze this, I know I'm rolling around a lot, I'm trying to give this pulley a wiggle. I'm trying to give it a pull in and out to see if there's any play in the bearing that attaches the shaft that goes through this pulley to the inside pump, the internal pump that's probably inside that. I'm going to call it a volute. There's an impeller in there that probably pulls hydraulic fluid from the reservoir, which is the reservoir around it. This is the tank that holds the fluid, and it pumps it out the outlet and back in the inlet. That's just a basic pump, right? But do I bite the bullet here and buy a new one? Do I try to analyze what's going on here? I'm trying to stay on a budget with all the things that I'm doing. We're on a limited income because we're doing the homeschool thing, and I'm doing side work where I can. It's been wintry. Basically, I can't warrant buying a new one of these if this is good and it works. I don't care how it looks. But I see, if you're wondering what caused these smashes and crashes, I'm sure, okay, you can get yourself, I don't know, let's see here. What does a guy run for when he's trying to tighten the belt on his accessory? So this goes for like alternators and any kind of accessories when you're trying to tighten them. I'm going to tell you, weapon 1 and weapon 2, you got it right here. This is what it is. This is what these guys are running for. All right, they take one of these pinch bars, pry bars, and they wedge it in, and they probably are cranking on this in a manner, from above, and this is just metal tank. There's no structure. It's pinch welded, it's pinch, yeah. It's lap welded? No, it's just pinched around, I guess, just like you would a door. I don't think there's a weld, it's just pinched. And it's a tank, like they're collapsing this. I'll bring this over to the car. Like if you wanted to tighten this alternator, a lot of guys will just, I don't know, just jam it in here and come up against it and come this way. Maybe they weasel this in here and they try to pry it off on something else to make this belt like Hercules tight. And I think the trick is with these belts, you only need like a 1/4 inch of deflection when you push down on it. See how it's a straight edge there? So I put a straight edge on here, and you can push down on this belt. Like there's a certain amount of, stretch that you're allowed. That's like, maybe a quarter inch, half an inch. As long as it's not squealing, like that's all you need. Like you can kill these bearings and these accessories if you crank them to King to Ka like these people are doing. King to Ka is a ride in Great Adventure. Anyway, what would you do? Would you wrap some tinfoil around it and spray paint it? Would you put Bondo on there and make it look pretty? Or would you put some JB Weld? I think that there's a crack here from someone prying on it, and that's going to develop a leak. Maybe I could pressurize it and see if I put a little bit of air in here, if I can get some hissies and I know there's a leak. Or do I hit it with some weld, where I see a crack maybe. So I'm going to go with this, with one of these tools, whatever you want to call them. They basically make you bleed every time you use them. I'm going to run this on here for a little bit on the drill and see what we got. I don't know. I'm sure this thing back in the day was like maybe $40. But when you go pulling this off, then you can get it to bracket. But man, if you don't have this pulley right where it needs to be, because it's a custom application, you're going to be messing around with belts flying off. So I wasn't having any problems. I kind of don't want to change anything if I don't have to. Stay tuned.